Thank you. She always talks to me every week. There we go. Okay, so it's, like I say, listing season. I've been trying to focus. We did the CMAs. We did objection handling during our listing appointments. We're trying to focus on how to close more listings right now because this is the time most people list, right? So we're going to go over pricing strategies today because it's so important to price your listings properly at a good marketable price to push that listing. And a lot of times we combat objections from our clients because they really want a much higher price or something that's happening in the neighborhood. So how do we combat these things, right? So I'm going to go over a variety of things. You guys stop me at any point if you have any questions or anything, and we'll see how much we can get through. I find every time I do these training sessions, I always have more content than the hours. So I can always come back to doing these discussions again. One second, I'll just get my mouse here.
How do you find customers that want to sell their house?
How do you find customers who don't want to sell their house?
They want to sell their house.
Who want to sell their house. Yeah. So we were talking about that when we were doing lead gen the other week. Okay, so it's a good question. You can find them in a lot of different places. You know, when we were talking about working our pillars, you can look for for sale by owners are a good resource, guys. Sarah, actually, if you don't mind, she was calling for sale by owners last week and landed an appointment. It's a very popular way. I had a lot of guys in my other office, they were working the for sale by owner to get their appointments. So then you just have to brush up on closing those appointments because they're not cold leads at the end of the day. They're warm leads. You already know they want to sell their house, right? But we talked about calling just listed and just expireds in the neighborhood, right? Or ones that are, you know, you can call the neighbors and say, hey, did you notice this property just listed, or just sold? You can use the listings in your brokerage if you don't currently have one in that neighborhood, but you're going to call around and see who else, especially just solds. Just solds are a gold mine because lots of neighbors are seeing that sale happen and they see how much the neighbor got and they are thinking of selling their house, and you're calling the street. Say, you know, it's Kennedy Road, something just sold. Hey, did you see that one on Kennedy Road just sold 1.2 million? And they go, oh, wow. You know, are you thinking of selling? Oh, I might if I can get that price. You know, a lot of people start thinking when the sales are happening in their neighborhood. So those are a gold mine to call too. You know, bounce off your own listings, send a flyer out the neighborhood, especially now everything's sold over asking because it's underpriced. Throw that flyer out. I mean, I'm sharing with you guys freely. I told you when I was doing the pillars the last time that I get listings from this. Don't miss the opportunity when you sell something to blast that building or blast that neighborhood with your flyer and say just sold over asking. I have buyers still looking in this neighborhood, right? So you have to take hold of those opportunities for sure and get your listings that way. So lots and lots of places to find business. I can go on all day. It's a constant all day long. Whoever I talk to, I'm always thinking of how to get business, right? So this is what you have to do at the end of the day. But today we're going to talk about pricing strategies, like I said. So this is a Mike Ferry one that it's Mike Ferry Leader's Edge that I took a little excerpt of that we're going to start with because I think it's a lot of good points that they go over. So we'll just read and go along and you guys can let me know if you have any questions. So they're talking here, first of all, when you get to the appointment with your client, they say, before we talk about price, if we can agree on a price this evening, will you be willing to list with me, right? Yes. Okay. Move forward. No. Investigate why. Well, because, you know, I'm not sure if I want to sell. They're always talking about qualifying your leads at the end of the day. When you're sitting for an appointment, you have to sense your client's motivation. Is there a reason that they need to move? Oh yeah, I have a job. I need to move to Mississauga by December. Well, you know that's a pretty warm lead because they have, you know, a short time to sell their house, turn around and buy something, right? You want to work with these people. If they're the person that wants to just put it up for a really high price in the neighborhood, I caution you, right? Because they're just going to put it up. You know, you're going to put the money out, take the pictures, and they say, oh, I just want to see if I can get 1.5 when all the sales are only 1.2 in the neighborhood. It's a little more difficult, right? So pricing philosophies, industry leaders. What do we know about industry leaders in real estate? They are always listing salespeople. So I find there's agents out there, and there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm just saying a lot of people go out there and go, oh, I only like working with buyers. Listings are hard to get. Or I only work with buyers because we make more money, right? Listing salespeople are the top people in our industry. Why? Because everybody knows their name. Their signs are out there, their flyers are out there, they're constantly in your face, right? So you want to focus on getting listings. Listings will bring you buyers, right? Obviously, if you have family or friends or somebody, your workplace or somebody comes to you says, I want to buy a house, you're going to sell to them, right? But if you are looking for business, you want to look for listings, because through your listings, you're going to get people calling you on those listings. You're going to get people seeing your sign. So you'll get recognition. You'll start getting recognized in whatever neighborhood you're working in. And you're going to have other people who don't want to purchase that house that you can turn around and work and buy with, right? So this is why industry leaders are always listing people, because you see their face everywhere, right? Worse than no listings are failed listings, okay? So this is why pricing strategy is so important. The worst thing you want is your sign in the lawn and the property doesn't sell, right? You don't want the neighbors to see your sign go up, it doesn't sell, it comes down, and another guy's sign goes up and it's sold, right? So you really want to focus on pricing your properties properly, right? No amount of effort will sell an overpriced listing. The rare occasion where it's a mom and she wants her daughter to buy next door, for instance, they might pay a little extra, but all your effort in the world, you can advertise in the newspaper and put a commercial out. It's not going to push that property if it's overpriced. Why? We all have access to stats, right? Even the public does. The sold statistics, what things are listed for, what sold, what didn't sell, what was overpriced. So everybody can see that. So no amount of effort will sell your overpriced listing, right? Learn to say the tough stuff nicely, right? So you have to be able to tell your clients, if they go, that house down the road sold for 1.2 and I should be able to get 1.2, and you walk in and the house is outdated, right? You can't go, oh no, that house is beautiful and yours isn't, right? You have to learn how to say tough stuff nicely to your clients, otherwise you're not going to get the deal. You have to say, well, they did have an updated kitchen and it had the marble granite, and yours is like the linoleum, and perhaps if we did some upgrading, it would come to that. But since you need to move, we're going to need to list it a little bit lower price. I think we're going to aim a little bit lower, right? Any listing will sell with the right price and terms. So as long as you're feeling the market you're in and you're working with the right price and terms, your listing will sell, right? Don't take a listing if you can't get a return on it. So you really want to go in this neighborhood, they want to list for 1.5. You're going to, it's only going to go for 1.2, right? You're going to put all this money into drone photography and 3D tours and your flyers you're setting up in the neighborhood, and you're getting no return on it because it's not going to sell, right? The only time I, will talk to my clients and I'll say to them, hey, listen, okay, I brought you the marketing material. I think that I've told you that everything's going to sell for 1.2. I think your price is a little high. If it means that, you want to list at that price or not list at all, then fine, we'll try it. But the proof is in the pudding. If we have no showings and we have no offers in the first week or two, we're going to turn around and have this conversation again and lower the price, right? So if they're amicable to that and they say, okay, yeah, I just want to see if I can get that price, then I'll put it up, right? Because again, we don't want those failed listings happening in our names, right? Price can attract or repel buyers. Yes, what's up? That's okay.
Reducing a price.
Is reducing a price what? Sorry? There's a couple of different strategies. So if your listings aren't selling, you can sit here, there's room. If you reduce your price, it'll just show as a price change, which is fine. I'm a fan of taking it off and relisting it so it looks like a fresh listing, because then it also feeds, how people subscribe to realtor.ca and the public is signing up for a regular email for houses in this price range, right? It'll funnel back into all of those people's emails again, right? So I'm a fan of doing that, but either or is perfectly fine strategy. I mean, I've done a price change before and it's sold, right? You just have to be mindful if you're doing a couple and you're coming down, people start wondering what's wrong with the house, right? So you have to be careful of how you're doing it for sure. Okay. So how do you get to the right price? Okay. So they say the good price that you're going to go do is highest price analysis, which is basically your comparative market analysis. You're going to see what sold in the neighborhood compared to this property. Okay. Oh, everything's selling for like 1.4, 1.5. Great. We can sell 1.4, 1.5, right? Right price analysis. So based on how quick people want to sell. So I always tell my clients one thing, especially when they want to overprice a property. I always say to them, look, no matter what, you end up at market value. Okay, if you want to overprice your property, you're going to sit longer than the average days on market. And if you guys remember from my CMA, I always bring what the average days on market are for the Toronto Real Estate Board now, right? So bring some stats with you. If you want to list higher, you're going to be longer days on market. If you want to list underpriced, you're going to sell real quick. We all know these bidding wars are only set for 5 to 7 days, and then they set the bid date, right? You're going to sell quick. If you want to go in the middle, that's where you're going to hit that average days on market. So you tell me what you want to do. Do you want to stay longer on the market? You want to stay 20, 30, 40 days, see if you can sell for your 1.5? Or do you want to put it lower at 1.19 and I can have you gone in probably a week with a bid date? Or do you want to list the middle of the road at the right price and go for whatever the average days on market is, right? And then the absorption rate, I don't necessarily use the absorption rate so much. I like feeling the market more, but you know, it's based on supply and demand. So there's a whole calculation. We can go over it another time. I didn't put it in this because I find I never use it. I don't know how helpful it is, but if you guys are numbers people, I can definitely go over that the next time. They just take, you know, how many listings there are and how many they sold, and they divide it and they say, okay, the absorption rate is 6 houses, you know, and I think it'll take you this long to sell by how many days on the market, right? So how do we check what kind of listings? Highest price analysis. If we want to tell our client what the highest price they can get is, how do we check that, right? And I'm going to go toggle over to Stratus as well, just to make sure you guys know how to search for these things, right? So we're going to look up comparable listings and sales. So these are the most recent sales within 6 months. You have to be really careful. This is normally true. If you guys are working currently, we know that we're not going back 6 months right now, right? In the last few months, I only go back as far as maybe March or February right now, because we know that that market kind of flew up. I was selling things in October and December that by February, March, we're selling for almost 100,000 more. And I don't know why, right? Because that market just went really high. So I say 6 months here, but I caution you to always have your finger on the pulse of the market. You guys have to be knowledgeable agents at the end of the day. Know what your market is. I'm not going back more than like three months right now, 3-4 months to see what's happening in the neighborhoods, right? Stay in the neighborhood. So generally bring it down as small as you can, because for instance, the pocket I live in is north of Ellesmere, and it sells very different from just south of Ellesmere, right in that pocket that I'm living in. And I'm aware of that. So very often I see other agents coming in who I know aren't from the area, and they'll list something in a way higher price because they're comparing to like my little pocket, right? You have to be knowledgeable of your neighborhood. So try to bring it down. You want to bring it down to E4, you know, Dorset Park. If there aren't a lot of comparables because your house is really unique, like it's a backsplit 4 or something, and there haven't been a lot that have sold in that little community, then fine, you can fan it out a little bit, but try to keep it in that pocket. Because especially if you guys are working neighborhoods you're not familiar with, that little pocket is going to give you a better price idea, right? Watch for dividing lines separating areas. So like I said, Ellesmere is a big dividing line, you know, because I think, you know, we had older buildings that were affecting the prices in this neighborhood versus ours that's a little more tucked away, right? And within 10% square footage. Square footage is not only something you have to watch, lot sizes, right? So I find a lot of people are going, oh, the 3-bedroom sold down the street for 1.2 million. I should get 1.2 million. Okay, but the 3-bedroom down there was a 60 by 140 foot lot, and yours is a 40 by 104. This matters a lot to people, especially now with a lot of building happening with older Scarborough. People are looking for those bigger lots. They're just selling for a premium, even if the house on it is not as much house, right? So you have to be mindful of these things to be telling our clients at the end of the day of how to price when we're pricing their properties, right? So then we're also going to look at the sold listings. We're going to see what's sold in the area, determine the average days on market, were they withdrawn and relisted? If so, add those days back to determine the actual days. So I've had clients say to me, oh, but that one sold in 1 day, right? And you make sure that if you're checking the sales in the neighborhood, you also check the past listings, because like I said, a lot of agents will take it off and put a fresh listing up like I would. You want to see, oh, they sat 20 days on the market at a bad price. And it wasn't until they put it up for this price that it sold, 1 day on market. So technically they were 21 days on the market. We're going to be mindful of this, right? So adjust for differences. Obviously, I was just talking about that. Lot size, amenities. Don't just compare the 3-bedroom with the other 3-bedroom. This 3-bedroom, I sold, it was a 4-bedroom. The 4-bedroom I sold on Bremerton, right? Sold and flew off like a hotcake. The one I sold further down on Bremerton was sitting and sitting and sitting. What was the big thing? They didn't have a proper separate entrance. They would have to, you know, dig and build one coming up out of the basement, right? So it's a $15,000 to $20,000 cost. So my client's going, well, I don't know, I thought I'd sell as much as him, but I'm going, I have to caution you, you don't have a separate entrance, right? And that's a big thing for a lot of people because it's not always family living downstairs in that basement apartment, right? Expired listings. Look for similarities to your listing. Why didn't they sell? So again, maybe this one that expired didn't have that separate entrance, or maybe it was a tinier lot, or maybe it was at the end of a street closer to a high traffic area. Look at different reasons why expired listings that you're going to list in didn't sell, and the same pitfalls that you might have, right? Limited service broker. This is a big one too. I'm not a fan of bashing other brokerages, but we all know that when we've gone, we tried to make appointments with certain brokerages, you get stuck on that 1-800 line, and it's not central. It's not an office like ours that runs a little better. We all know that we hate, you know, everything except broker bay, for instance, when booking appointments, right? Just little things that make it easier for your clients and other people to book appointments on your listings. It makes a big difference, right? Were they not marketed properly, sorry. Let sellers know what you do differently. So we can say, oh, you know, there was a couple of expired listings in your area, and I think they didn't really sell because, you know, they didn't send out flyers in the neighborhood, or they didn't put a beautiful listing up, or they put it up for the wrong price, right? So you want to talk to your clients about that. And active listings. This is the one that not a lot of people look up, and it's so important right now when we're pricing our properties. I can't stress how much I not only go of what's sold, but I go to the active listings, and I'll tell you guys why. Right now, what's happening, right? Everybody's setting bid dates, okay? So if you're gonna go up and a similar property's up, and you guys will both have the bid date on the same time, you just created yourself competition. You just, you know, maybe yours will sell, maybe you'll be in direct competition with that one, right? Or maybe the person down the road has theirs up for a really high price, and you're going, that's not going to sell. It'll be a great time for me to go up and go up against him at the same time and have a bid date on the same date. So please, when you're pricing your listings and you're putting them up, definitely look at the active listings. They don't necessarily tell you what your property will sell for, but they'll tell you your pricing strategy. And that can change week for week in the neighborhood. I don't know if I told you guys, but a couple, the one that I just had the bidding war on last night, it's on the same street that my brother was listing a property. His was coming soon for weeks and weeks and weeks, and mine was coming soon for only about a week. And I was just about to list it, and he texted me, oh, by the way, Pegasus up, right? Because he just, you know, we let each other know what's going on. And I was like, oh my God, I was going to list it the same day and have the same bid date, right? So we had to stagger our listings a little. So I had to go back to my client and say, hey, the other Pegasus went up. Let's wait a couple days and put ours up in midweek. Then we won't be in direct competition with each other. Whoever didn't get that house will hopefully funnel into our house, right? Imagine if we went up the same bid date, people have to make that choice. Do I want to enter into this, or do I want to enter that, right? So be mindful of what's happening in your neighborhood when you go to list, for sure. It's super important. Okay. So they're saying here, price sensitive positioning. You want to get your price right the first time. You want to try to avoid the take it off and relist. I mean, it happens to every one of us. I take listings off and relist. I do price changes, but you want to try and get it right the first time, because people always want to ask you. You get calls when listings are sitting, what's wrong? What's wrong with the property, right? So price the home just in front of the target price range, right? It will increase the potential buyer pool. So for instance, a lot of people are pricing just under that $1 million mark because a lot of people searching are capping it at that $1 million mark. Once you hit over, you're coming into a much smaller bracket of people that you're going to adhere to, right? So then you're limiting your buyer pool, you're limiting the amount of showings that are going to come into your property, right? Buyers are more price sensitive as the market softens, right? So we're seeing the opposite right now. Sorry, one sec. Right now, the market's really, really hot. And so nobody's too price sensitive. We still see things going way over asking for really hot prices. People are fighting over those properties. Yeah, Sarah, what's up?
What do you mean? I just didn't understand that sentence. Like price the home in front of their target price. Like
if your client says to you, I want 275, don't list it for 350. You want to do it, yeah. No, you would listen just a little I would listen a little in front of it, like 280. You know what I mean? You want to leave a little bit of room. But
okay,
again,
so
it all
more
depends.
Their price range,
yeah.
like not too high.
Yeah, you want to make sure you're staying within. like a little bit of a cap of what they want, right? But like I say, this isn't the market we're in right now. You guys, this is pricing strategy. It kind of has to change for whatever market you're in right now. Right now, we're in that hot market where everything is under and everything's going for a bid date. Although I see a lot of people telling me, oh, it's slowing down, which it is. I don't find so much with my buyers right now. I find I'm still stuck in all these bidding wars, but I know that some people listing are complaining that, maybe they're not getting as many bids or any when their bid date comes, right? But it all is really strange. So I listed the Bremerton property and we had a bid date set and it went the first week and we got no offers. So we just put it up the second week and we really thought about it and we looked at those active listings like I was talking in the neighborhood and compared, and we said, I think we didn't sell because there was a couple of other 2-story, 4 bedrooms, and they were I think had the separate entrance. That was a big thing, and we were in direct competition with them. So the very next week we put it up and we sold it on the bid date. Right? Normally I would take it off and put it back more up for true price, but you have to do your research and see what's happening in that pocket that's why it's not only important to look at the sold prices, look at what's actively up and what you're up against when you're strategizing how to price the property. Yeah, did you have another one? Yeah.
Yeah, so, you said like to, of their target price of like the sellers, right? But, what if their target price range is like unrealistic?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You have to educate your clients. So that's what I say. You have to
Okay,
learn
so
how to
this
say
is
tough stuff to them.
afterwards, like,
Yeah,
figuring it out.
yeah, exactly. You have to tell them, you have to educate them and say, this is the sales that's happening in the neighborhood. You need to know that this is about how much I feel you can get for your property right now, right? Okay, better to start right than to require a price reduction. So that's a little self-explanatory. Like I say, people start asking, well, why did they reduce their price? Are they overpriced? Is there something wrong with the property, et cetera, et cetera? You'll start getting those calls for sure. Your goal is to look better than the competition. So your goal is that guy put his sign up and it sold. Well, I'm going to put my sign up and I want to sell faster, or I want to sell for higher in the neighborhood, or I want to look like a more professional sale, right? That's why we were talking before that the worst thing is a failed listing, right? So why pricing strategies are so important, right? Initial property offering. So when you first put that listing on the market, the enthusiasm is greatest within the first 14 days. I wouldn't even say 14 days right now. I'm going to give the first 4 days, right? We all know we get flooded with those showing requests right now and everybody bombarding the property and walking through. So it's so important pricing your property properly, because that you don't want to lose that burst of enthusiasm. That's why I was saying if it's not working or it's sitting too long, I take it off and I put it up again, because I'm trying to recreate that little burst that happened. And I might even let it sit a day or two off the market and put it back up, right? Just so the people, and I change the front picture. I try to change my description around. I try to make it look like a new listing. So anybody in the public is going, oh, what's this new one in the neighborhood? Or maybe something that didn't catch their eye before will catch their eye this time, right? It sells at the highest price during the 14 days. So when you do the price reduction, people start thinking, okay, what's wrong with the property? That's when, you'll start getting the lowball offers. And I'm not talking like the lowballs that we normally get when people just think, oh, they listed at $9.99 and have a bid date set. I'm going to throw in a $9.99 offer and see what happens, right? I'm talking about true lowball offers where people are thinking that there's something wrong with the property, right? Overpriced homes become stale dated. So that's what I was talking about, going stale in the market. You lose that enthusiasm. You start getting lower priced bids. Underpriced homes leave profit on the table, right? So you don't want to underprice the house. Don't be that agent. We're trying to do our clients a good service. And I can guarantee you, if you sell your client's property for way under what it's supposed to be sold for, and that agent sells it for way higher next week, who do you think the neighbors are going to call? Right? So just because your client is telling you, well, oh, they only want $750, that's a real easy sale for me. It's going to go like a hotcake, no problem. You want to tell them, no, you can get more for your property. You can get, it's okay to tell them the opposite as well. We don't always hit the client that wants more for their property. We can tell them, no, you can get $800 for your property. It's absolutely possible, right? So you want to tell them that. Right priced homes sell for right price at a fair price. So, I mean, that's self-explanatory, right? If you're listing it at the market value, it's going to be a pretty smooth sale. You're going to look at the average days on market for everything. Does anybody have a question so far, or anything they didn't understand about pricing their property, or looking at the expireds, the solds, the active listings? How are you guys doing there online? Anybody got a question? Are you guys good? Okay.
Would it be underpriced if the seller was just really motivated? Like, let's say you say that, oh, no, you can get more for this, right? Like, don't settle at 700, you can get 800 for it. But that person says, no, but I need it to close right now because they bought another house or like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's another different situation.
Okay, well, again, it's knowing your market. Is it the middle of February and the days on market is 23 days with the real estate board? Okay, right? It's your seller's commodity to sell at the end of the day. If you tell them if you sit 23 days on the market, we can probably get you your 800,000. They say, no, I need to list for 750 and get out of here fast. You can put that. You have to watch words like motivative because you're definitely going to get lowball offers for your clients, right? But if you know your market, like now that things are only sitting for a week, right? You can say, okay, I know you're really motivated. You need to get out of here. You need to move. There's an emergency or you really have to, you need the money for some reason. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you right now, the days on market is 9 for the real estate board. But I know I'm not going to let you sit 9 days on the market. It'll be 5 to 7 with a bid date. Okay, so 5 to 7, good for you. Okay, great. Let's go and we'll try and get you that price, you know, that 800 instead of 750. We're still trying to help our clients.
Hurry, they should go for a bid date, yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, your repeat and referral business is golden to you because you don't want to have to work so hard all the time trying to look for business. You want people calling you back over the years because they know that you've done a good job for them, right? You got to be their lifelong agent. Every time they want to buy and sell, they've got to remember that you did a good job for them, right? So when you're comparing different ways to price your property, obviously you'd put a lower price comparatively with things sold on the street for something that's in disrepair or like like Sarah was saying that they need a quick sale, and a higher price for something in good condition. There's no rush to sell, right? And then we talk about no incentives or seller incentives, which we'll talk about a little bit later what those are here. So seller incentives, what is that? What can we offer as incentives? My client just bought a townhouse that included all the furniture. And I was kind of floored. I had to double read the thing. And I said, all the furniture in here, but I guess they didn't need it. They were selling and buying a bigger house and they wanted to furnish it. And it was nice furniture. I thought it was sage, actually. So that was a big seller incentive for my client because they didn't want the furniture anyways. My other client left everything in her condo because it was a rental and she had students there. And the students moved, she sold her condo and she didn't need the furniture. So the first time home buyer was really appreciative for that to be included in the sale, right? Obviously 99% of the time we're including the appliances, right? The window coverings, you know, flexible closing dates are good, right? Financing incentives, right? So seller to hold back mortgage is always a good one. We don't see one that often, but maybe on higher price listings, right? That'd be helpful for purchasers. Pricing below market value, like we were saying, if they wanted to for a reason. An odd list price. So you ever see these agents that put 888 because you know everybody thinks it's a lucky number or something? You do that. They say it catches people's eyes, right? So they say it's a good seller incentive, right? Easy access to the property. So this is a big one, right? We don't want to be fiddling with lock boxes or have to meet the listing agent. Our showings are only between 5 and 8 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We need to be super accessible for everybody coming through, right? Higher commission to the buyer rep. So if you're having trouble selling a property, you could discuss this with your seller, right? Or if you've got a good commission, you could consider giving up. If you have something that maybe wasn't priced properly or your client's really looking for a little more and you want to push it. I've seen not only higher commission, but I've seen if sold before January 1st, you get an extra $500 on your commission, right? So that's a good seller incentive, right? Staging is huge these days, especially for all these flips we see happening in Scarborough. We see the theme, all the old Scarborough homes are getting renovated and then you've got your renovator client. You got to stage the property for them now. You've got to put all the bells and whistles on it. It'll sell for a higher price, right? Completing repairs. So if you walk around and there's a lot of half complete stuff in the house, you want to encourage them to finish it if they're really aiming for that higher price, right? Consider trade. I don't know. Can anybody give me an example of trade that's happened? I've never done a trade in a purchase before. Anybody done? Or purchase or a sale, right? Pay buyers closing costs. I never see that happen either. You know, the seller really wants to get all their money. So, but you could probably throw in maybe a $500 gift card for their moving costs, right? A decorating allowance, same sort of thing. some kind of home warranty. So there are home inspectors that I know that offer warranties for things that they've checked out. For instance, the appliances, they take pictures of them and keep the serial number. And they even go as far as sending reminders when, not reminders, but when they send like recalls and stuff, they get signed up for that. They'll send the buyers this information and offer a sort of warranty on their home inspection. So if you're doing a pre-list with your seller, because those are real popular now, nothing's getting an inspection done. Pre-list is a necessity these days. You want to get a pre-list inspection done for your seller and encourage them that it's important to do. Pay land transfer taxes. Again, I've never seen that done before. Some of these are funny ones, right? Alarm service for a year. Landscaping contract. I'll get the guy come mow the lawn for the next, for the rest of the summer, right, for the purchase. Maid service for a year. Or there you go. I was talking about the advanced home inspection. Right. So why do we give seller incentives with them? Because we're hoping for a quicker sale, right? So to our seller, our listing sells quicker. It's less inconvenience to them. They don't have people coming through their property over and over again. The faster they sell, the less they have to keep that property in prim and pristine condition every single day. I laughed. I had a seller once who told me, come here. When I came over to her property, she goes, every morning I just sweep the counter, and she had it all shoved in the dishwasher. She goes, because she had kids and she had to run and she had to get it ready for work. And she goes, I literally just go into the dishwasher, close, clean for the day. She goes, I pray the buyers walking through don't open the dishwasher, right? So it's less inconvenient for them when people are not walking through their property every single day. No missed buying opportunity, right? And pride of their sale. They get to go, oh, my house was so nice in my neighborhood. You forget our clients, it's important to them, right? My house, I kept it nice. The landscape was great. It sold in 2 days over asking. That's pride for them in their neighborhood, right? And of course, for the salespeople, we'll talk about it. We get paid quicker, right? We get paid, period, right? Because it's not that we're spending all this money on photography or everything and we're not getting the sale done, right? Fewer expenses. So as the sale drags on, you need to try and push that sale. You've already invested in it and you've told your client you're going to sell it. You guys are probably going to put a little more money. Maybe I better put an ad in the newspaper, or maybe I better, pay for some social media ads, right? You have satisfied sellers, right? Which is your referral opportunity. Super important. It's less inconvenient for you to be like taking those calls and showing the property and getting the listing sold properly. It's a prospecting opportunity. So like I was saying, what are you going to do when you just sold your property? You're going to either flyer the neighborhood, just sold over asking. I know door knocking is not popular right now because of COVID, but I'm hoping that'll die down a little bit, because my favorite thing to do is to go door knocking groups with the office. It's a good place to get some business. So normally if I sell in the neighborhood, I go door knock that neighborhood, right? Saves time. You get a better return on your investment. You put this money in, you're going to get a better return on it, right? It's an advertising opportunity. So again, that would be your flyers in the neighborhood, stuff like that. Increased credibility. So we talk about you versus the other agent, right? The other agents that are selling in the neighborhood, neighbors see, they come and go, their sales are quick. Well, your sale was even quicker. These ones are selling in 9 days, like the average day on market. You're sold in 2, right? And better performance stats. So your performance stats are good. We talked a little bit about on the CMA, how we can put, I sell 3 to 1 compared to the competition. If you check on the Toronto Real Estate Board stats, they say out of like 65,000 agents on the Toronto Real Estate Board, only a certain percentage of them, I can't remember off the top of my head, work full time. And of those, they'll tell you the average sales. So if you find that the top sales guys are making 6 to 10 sales a year and you did 8 last year, well, you're doing pretty good. It's a pretty good statistic if you find that you're actually working real estate on a regular basis and you go and you check your stats compared to those, right? So we're going to talk about price reductions. Does anybody have a question so far? Anybody lost? First of all, you guys know how to go and check the comparable sales, right? Let me just stop the share for a second and go into Stratus for a minute. I think before I switch topics a little bit, hopefully I'm still logged in here. I always log in before training and then I talk so much it logs me out by the time I get to it. So we're going to log in and we're going to go to search. Don't log me out. There we go. Okay, lucky day. So we're going to go to search. And we'll just do the area around the office because it's easy. We're all familiar. We all know where the office is. So what I'm going to do is the first thing I do is I'm going to try and price what my property should be priced at, right? So I'm gonna go to residential and unavailable. I'm pretending I'm selling a detached home in this area, right? And the first thing I'm gonna do is go to Toronto, right? And we're in EO4 here. And then Dorset Park, right? And my clients told me that they have a 3+1, let's say. So I'm gonna go, what are the 3 bedrooms plus 1 that have sold in the area? Okay. And I always talk about bringing this number down under 200, because if you don't, you're not catching everything that it comes up in the search. If it says 204, you're missing 4, because it only displays about 200 at a time. So it wants you to bring your search down as much as you can. So I brought this down to 66. That's pretty good.
What months are you doing? 3, 4,
So
5,
I'm
6?
not doing months right now, but that's a good point. I can bring it down even further. It'll probably bring me less than 66 now.
3 months.
But what I'm gonna do is for the sold date then, because we talked about, it's a good point. Right now in the market, I'm not going back more than say March or February, even say when the prices really started to spike. So February 1st, I'll put there. That brings me down to only 12. So I'm down to 12 in this pocket, right? Go to submit. Okay. And then I always like to sort by sold date, because it'll give me the most recent. So you have to sort twice. When you sort the first time, it puts the farthest away on top. I sort a second time. It gives me the most recent on top. So we see we have sales that happened as early as yesterday, right? All right, so I'm gonna go, okay, mine are detached. Let me go to, I also could have reduced it a little further by putting detached. But let's see, we have some big differences here. So we have 925 and then we have 1,035,000. But then we have 955 and 935. So let's see, what is this comparable to what my client has? So we're just gonna imagine that my client is 50 by 100 lot. Okay, so I'm really comparable to this. He has 3+1 bedroom. He listed at 799 and sold 925. Okay, I think this is a pretty good comparable. Actually, I think my client will do better because they don't have any vinyl or laminate. They have upgraded hardwood throughout and porcelain, for instance, right? You can even take a further look at the pictures a little bit, get an idea of how it compares to our client's property, right? So let's go see why the next one sold for so much more, right? Well, first of all, it's a little bigger lot, right? And oh, it has a lot of laminate and hardwood floor. Let's see if the inside is a lot nicer. Okay. So this is one of those ones that probably got fought over for some unknown reason. Let's see here, because it looks pretty comparable to the other one we saw. I think the hardwood's a little more upgraded than the last one that we pulled up, right? Let's see what the next one looks like. Okay. So this one is 40 by 125. So it's a little bit smaller width-wise than the first one we looked at, right? And we're back down into that 900 price range, right? So let's just say we look at these, you know, our imaginary house, we don't know 100% what it looks like, but you guys get what I'm saying. It's important to look at the lot. Lot is a big thing, right? Square footage of the house is a little difficult because we know that all agents don't put the square footage in because it's not a required field. Okay, but you get a good sense of the space when you look at the property and see whether it was like, you know, a large living room or there were a bunch of little tiny rooms. It's big to see whether it has any +1s, separate entrances, right? What the finishes are. These are all things that I would look at and tell my client, right? So I'd say, let's just say, you know, for the fun of it, 925, 955, and 935 are the 3. I go to my client, I say, okay, I think you can have between 925 and 955. And I bring it to them, and then we take a look around the property and we'll discuss where they're going to fall in between them compared to those 3 properties that I've just brought them, right? So it's a good way to check it out. So you guys know how to look for that, right? We all know how to look for active properties. So I just want to use a quick example here, looking at an active property. Okay, we'll go back in, we'll go to the same area. Okay, Toronto, EO4. We'll go to Dorset Park. Okay, so right now, if I were to go up today, I'm up against 10 properties, okay? Let's go and see what's up. So I do the same thing, except this time I sort by contract date. You guys don't have to sort it. I just like to know what recently went up, because those are probably the ones that are going to have the same bid dates as we. So we can see that one went up today, one went up yesterday, one went up a couple days ago. So mine is detached. I'm not concerned about the first one. Let's look at the second one. Okay, it's a 3+2. Mine's only a 3+1. Oh shoot, and they went up for $879. I definitely don't want to price mine at $999. I hope that I get more than $1 million, because everybody, you'll see they're 3+2, I'm 3+1. This is my pricing, like my price reasoning with my clients. Now we're doing a little objection handling, because we're not only showing them what's sold, we're showing them what's currently up against, right? This one's 3+2 and they're up $879. Perhaps we'll go up for $829. And I always caution them. I say, it's your commodity at the end of the day. Don't get hysterical with the price on me. It's just the strategy. You don't have to sell if you don't get what you want on bid date, but just allow me and my expertise to tell you that if we go up at $879, this house is going to get shown more. If we go up for $879 or any more, because people just, their mindset is, why am I going to go see this one when I get an extra bedroom in the basement? I would not go up for $879 this week with this one, right? Let's see what the other one's priced at, $899. So you can see already these agents have used that logic. They have a 3+3. So this guy had went up a few days before the previous one. So Delbert has gone up a couple of days previous to Ashteen. So I can bet you dollars to donuts. Is this a good listing agent? Right away I can see 5 Ashteen has been listed just a little bit below, because they have that one less bedroom in the basement with the separate entrance. You see the strategies? Now I bet you they both have bid dates set, right? Offers presented on Monday, May 31st. So this is happening on Monday, May 31st, right? Let's see when Delbert is happening. So $899, 3+3. Okay, offers will be reviewed on May 31st. So this guy either didn't check that they're both having a bid date in the same area at the same time, or he's trying to steal this guy's traffic, because he's not only priced it a little under, he's trying to pull that traffic away from this listing. But I honestly, if I had a client, I would probably put this the day after, since he went up before me, because I like to take, okay, anybody who didn't come to this property, now I have the full attention. Instead of getting 3 offers going to Delbert and 3 offers going to the other listing, I want 5 out of those 6, because only one person's going to buy this on Monday, May 31st. So everybody else who placed an offer on this is most likely going to come to my listing the next day, right? Yeah.
What happens if I give 1 day earlier than I come?
Yeah, you could do that. If you think your property is better for some reason, or people are going to not wait for this, or they can try for yours, for sure. For sure. But my only hesitation, and the reason I said a day after, is because he's 3+3. So everybody right now, this is probably going to go to close to $1 million or over. And everybody right now is looking for that rental potential in the basement, and we can get more for a 3-bedroom. If I was the 3-bedroom, I might go the day before him. Do you know what I mean? Because then I think that people might fight for my property before they bid for his, and kind of, go for the +2 bedroom as a secondary, right? I look at this as more valuable from the rental potential kind of mindset. So like I say, it all depends. The pricing strategy and everything all depends on what is up. This is why I want to just draw your guys' attention to not only look at the solds, look at what's actively up and what you're going against, because it's going to affect the sale of your property and how fast you sell, right? And again, we'll just look at one more for the fun of it. Let's see here if there's another detached here. There look to be a lot of townhouses in the area. No. Okay, let's see. This guy, what did he do? He went up at 1.102 with no offers. So he's just gone up at true market price, and you can see he's 16 days on the market. So he's decided not to have a bid date. And this is what we can show our clients. There's different strategies. If your client is really nervous, says, no, I don't want a bid date. I don't want to list it at 829. I definitely want over $1 million. List mine, over $1 million. You can just show them as an example by pulling up active listings in the area. Okay, no problem. I do believe it's worth 1.1, but this pricing strategy is that you'll sit longer days on the market. If this is a true price, say this was a true market price. If it's over market price, you can caution them they're going to sit a lot more days on the market. And very often you'll pull ones up that are sitting a lot more days on the market. Let's go on a little further and see if we can find one. So here we go. We have 27 days on the market. They were listed at $1,070,000, right? They've done a price change to $1,049,000, and we're sitting 27 days on the market, right? Now these sellers are going to talk to anybody in the neighborhood or any other agents, and people would say to you, why are you sitting 27 days in a market like this? Things are flying. We all work with buyers. We can't catch a listing fast enough. Why are you sitting for 27 days? So this is where you have to be cautious about having failed listings, because this poor agent is probably getting some flack, either because their client was really sticky with the price or they didn't use a good pricing strategy at the end of the day, right? So this is why I think that looking at active listings is important, because we can pull this to our client's attention. It helps us deal with our objection coming from them, and it helps us price our things properly. It's also for our own education purposes, right? So everybody knows how to search for those. They're not lost on how to search for those properties. We all know how to do the searches in the system. I know some of you guys don't have your logins yet, but we'll get to it as soon as you guys get your logins. You get familiar. At least you get a little overview of what it looks like searching for stuff in the system. But as soon as you get it, definitely come in and I will show you guys how to search for things. Let me just stop the share here for a second. I get so many layered screens. I lose my, there we go, stop share. How's everybody doing there online? You guys good? Did you follow along so far? Do you have any questions for me? Have you guys had any problems recently with pricing your properties or things sitting on the market too long? You guys good? Okay, let's see. We have 8 more minutes. I'll see. I've got a lot more content, so we can probably do a second session of this one, but we'll go over and see what else we can follow through with pricing strategies, right? So price reductions. Okay, so price reductions are a little sticky situation. If you're haven't priced it properly the first time, you're going to need to talk to your client about a price reduction. Like I said, very often, if they want an overpriced listing, I had that conversation with them. No offers, no hardly any showings. Within 1 to 2 weeks, we're reducing the price, right? Because I, as an active agent, I want my name to be out there as sold, right? We have to have a good reputation. So demonstrated declining market. The first reason is that the market is declining. Okay, so we have to talk to our clients about this. We know it's happening. I've been talking to a lot of the colleagues around here. We say our listing's up. Why isn't it getting a lot of showings, right? So if your client is concerned, well, why isn't my listing selling? You have to have your finger on the pulse of the market. Like I say, you have to say to them, well, it is becoming a little bit slow. People are concerned about the interest rates going up, about the stress test being changed, right? The benchmark going up. So they're a little concerned about that. So we have to tell our clients, well, the first reason is because, you know, the market's changing. Or say your client listed and now we spilled from a hot summertime into a, you know, fall market. We have to know what's happening. Why is it slowing down? We have to also get feedback from our showings, right? Saying that, you know, what's happening with the property. Oh, I think it's too overpriced, right? So demonstrate an overpriced, okay? The second reason for repositioning their house is because it was initially overpriced. So this is like I was talking with you guys before, when your client wants to list it higher and you say, we have a discussion. I think it was a little too high. I came to you with my comparables. Now it's time to come with a price reduction and try and sell it for what I think the market value is, right? Or the decreased interest as time passes. So maybe it sat up because you went up at the same time. Like I said, it just happens sometimes. It's not our fault. It's not our client's fault. I just happened to go up the same week my client wanted to go up with 2 or 3 other ones right in that pocket that were very similar houses, right? So now I've gone up. There's been a little decreased interest. So I'm going to have to do a little price change or take it off and load it again, right? And put some life into this listing, right? And then it talks about meeting with your client about price reductions, but we don't have to talk about that right now. I want to kind of go over if you guys have any questions for me right now or anything to do with your listings. How many of you guys have had a listing that just sat there for a while and you're not really sure why? Right? Like I say, it's really important to take this to heart. You have to do your CMAs properly. You have to go prepared to your appointments. You have to educate your clients. You have to not only know about the sold listings, but the active listings. You have to be aware what's happening in your market. What's happening in the market, you know, around us. Is it a hot market? Is it a buyer's market? Or is it a seller's market? Right? We have to be aware what's happening with our industries around us. Like we were talking about the mortgage and interest rates and the stress test. We have to be aware of those things so we can educate our clients for our listings. And at the end of the day, price and sell and get that good name in the neighborhood so you can get other listings in the neighborhood. And market your properties. Market your properties after you sell them. It's super important to get more listings. So you guys let me know if you have any problems with your listing appointments. Did you have a question?
No.
Oh, I thought it was the hands up. It was just a wave.
You get the point.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I say, it's not a joke. Then they say that the industry leaders are listing salespeople. Okay, because there's a reason for that. Everybody knows their name, right? It's so important. Like when we're talking about our pillars, that you guys pick your neighborhood pockets to work in and farm those areas. If that neighborhood thinks of buying or selling, you should be the only one they think of calling. Why do you think it? I can guarantee you, whatever neighborhood you live in, you guys all know the name of whoever the popular listing agent is in your area. Why is that? Because it's his sign up over and over again, his or her sign, sorry, up over and over and over again, right? Because they're doing what you're supposed to do. They're farming that area. They're putting the listing up. They're marketing it at the right price. They're selling it fast, impressively, either fast or over asking. They're putting that sign up and they're either door knocking or flyering that neighborhood saying, hey, look what I just sold, right? And they're jumping off their sales and their recognition in that neighborhood, right? So it's so important to take everything over the last couple of weeks, what we've focused on for listings, right from the CMA to working our pillars to pricing strategies, and put that all together. And if you guys are totally confused how, or if you need any help, put it all together for listing season and get a lot more listings. Close all your listings, you know, get other listings off for your listings that you're selling. So, all right, you guys good this week? So I was supposed to have my mortgage guy, my mortgage lady come in, actually, one of them from Centum. She had to cancel last minute and switched it around. That's why we did pricing strategies. So next week it'll be a guy from RBC, and then the Centum lady's coming the following week. So, but we'll be paging it out anyways. Tuesday morning, I think Thursday it'll be me. Tuesday morning it'll be the RBC guy, I believe. So anyways, you guys all have a good week and let me know if you need anything, okay? Talk to you guys soon. You're welcome.